Hello, hello. My name doesn't matter, but we're gonna be playing some TF2 today. Now, pretty sure a lot of people don't know what TF2 is, what kind of game it is. It's basically a first-person shooter. Um, there's not much to say about it. You have to see the game for yourself. But before I go into the game, I'll explain some of the classes that I'll probably be playing today. First of all, we have the heavy weapons guy, which is your usual tank kind of guy. He has 300 HP, the most HP in the entire game, and he is pretty slow. Now his primary is a minigun, which does what a minigun does, fires really quickly, and has a ammo reserve of 200 ammo. It shreds through crowds. It's a very strong weapon, but obviously because of Heavy's mobility, it can get countered easily by a experienced sniper or a spy. For his secondary, by default he has a shotgun, which doesn't have much of a purpose if you don't if maybe you can use it if you don't have any ammo on your minigun, but except for that, I don't see much of a use for it, at least in the default loadout. And he has his fists for his melee weapon. Now, most people use the sandwich as his secondary because, again, the shotgun doesn't have much of a purpose unless you're out of minigun ammo. Basically, the sandwich is a cooldown weapon, not really a weapon, a utility that lets you heal all of your HP, but makes you immobile and unable to do anything for a few seconds. You can also throw this sandwich at other people to heal them. Um, so yeah, that's heavy weapons guy, and we have the engineer over here, which he has a shotgun for his primary by default, a pistol for his secondary, and a wrench for melee, which is the thing you'll be using the most. Now, the shotgun and pistol aren't much of a use unless you're playing Battle Engineer, which is a subclass of the Engineer that lets you actually play aggressively, unlike the actual playstyle of Engineer, which is far more passive. I mean, not really, but I like to play him like that. Now, the most useful thing he has is his wrench and his construction PDA, which lets him build buildings that can help him and his teammates in various ways. Now, the construction PDA is what builds these things, and the wrench is what speeds up the construction, upgrades them, and heals them. He has three kinds of buildings. He has teleporter, he has a dispenser, and he has a sentry. A sentry is what you think it would be. It shoots the crap out of anything that gets in its range. A dispenser is a support kind of building that lets your teammates use it as a way of healing themselves and reloading their ammo. And he has a teleporter which can help his teammates and himself go through it and end up the other side. Now, I mostly use the Rescue Ranger, which lets you heal your sentry away from it, so you don't get killed by splash damage or any kind of other kind of damage. And the Wrangler for the secondary, which is a very powerful weapon if used correctly, which I do not, but I still have it, so might as well use it. It basically triples your sentry's health and lets you manually control it so you can kill anything that is outside its range. And there's the Gunslinger. I don't really like to use it, but it's a good weapon for a battle NG, which lets you build a miniature sentry, which costs less metal, which I actually forgot about talking about that. Metal is basically a type of currency that only the engineer has. Technically, all the other classes have it, but only the engineer can use it. He has a maximum of 200 metal, which he can use to build or upgrade, heal, or build his buildings. And the Gunslinger lets him create a miniature sentry that costs less metal and cannot be upgraded. This is very useful in Battle Engineer because Battle Engineers don't really care about their sentry's health, so they could just throw down a disposable sentry and let it do extra damage while they go in for the kill. But I mostly use a wrench, especially in the mode I'm about to play. Now, any other class? I'll talk about the Demo Man. The Demo Man is he's a doozy. He can be a very powerful class or a very shitty class. It just takes a lot of skill, which I don't have a lot of. First of all, he has a grenade launcher as his primary, which is it's just a projectile that does 100 damage on contact and about 30 damage upon exploding on the ground. It obviously has splash damage because it's an explosion. Now, for his secondary, he has most likely one of the most powerful and the most versatile weapon in the game, the Sticky Bomb Launcher, which lets you throw a kind of grenade that can, stick to surfaces that you can manually detonate at any time. So you can spam the heck out of this, or you can put down traps to kill people that aren't aware that the trap is there, and a lot of other things, including accidentally killing people, which I actually have never done, but I mean, maybe it can happen. And for his melee, he has a bottle, which, this doesn't do much, but he has a versatile list of swords and medieval weapons he can use. These are mostly used in the subclass that is Demo Knight, which is again, like the Demo Man itself, it's a doozy. I won't get into that in this video, but you can see it basically everywhere. I mostly use the grenade launcher. Right, I forgot about talking about the shields. The shield is a weapon that lets you charge and is basically the staple of a Demo Knight. It lets you run at people so you can kill them with your melee. But I mostly use the Sticky Bomb Launcher in the game mode I'm about to play. And, the melee doesn't really matter in the game mode I'm about to play, so how about the Skull Cutter? It doesn't really matter. Alright, now that we've talked about the class a little bit, let's go into the game. Now we have three main game modes that we can play. We have casual, which is basically a normal, just your regular old game mode, which is what most people play. Competitive mode, which is not that much different from casual, except that it's a 6v6 fixed. You can't change the amount of players on that. And there's basically nobody in competitive. And then we have Man vs. Machine, which is what I'm gonna play today. It's basically a game mode where 6 people just fight against armies of robots. Now, I can't play Man Up. You need tickets. You need to buy tickets for this. And I don't feel like spending money, so I'm gonna go on the boot camp. And how about I go on intermediate? I will go on advanced or expert, but I literally cannot Windows. So we're just gonna wait for a sec. Hopefully this gets edited out. I don't know what I'm gonna do about this silence. But oh well. If it doesn't, sorry about that. Alright, this is taking a long time. Okay, there we go. Right. Hopefully I can actually do something properly in this game. Again, sorry about the section if it doesn't get edited out. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this video. This is basically a test. Just seeing how I can use OBS and all. And be sure to tell me if my volume is too much up in the comments below, which you probably won't be, because probably nobody's gonna watch this, or I'm just never gonna publish this on any kind of website. Well, it at least has sentimental value to me. Alright, I'm gonna go engineer on this one. In my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, engineer is a staple class when you're playing Manners Machine. Now, what I didn't describe was what kind of things you can do in MBM, which is buy upgrades, unlike other game modes where you're just fixed to what you have.
You're alright, Doc.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you need to know about here. You can upgrade your weapon, you can upgrade yourself, you can buy canteens that let you have immediate boosts to help you out. So I'm just going to be buying some of the stuff that I normally buy. There we go.
Get bloody going! Teleporter coming right up.
And the reason the buildings that I'm building right now don't cost any metal, that's because the round hasn't started yet.
Teleporter going up.
So that means that my buildings will always get constructed at max tier, and they will always be constructed immediately, which is not the case normally.
Erecting a dispenser.
Their proper position.
Backing
Actually,
up.
never mind. I'll put that somewhere else. I'm actually gonna lower the volume a little bit. I don't know how it's being here in the recording system, but it's loud as hell to me.
That was getting heavy. Pony up, boys.
Anyway, you press F4
Let's go. Let's
moving out.
ready. Just a little reminder.
That there wasn't getting any lighter.
Alright, just gonna wait here. Not much to say right now. By the way, there's a lot of taunts in this game, which that changes depending on what weapon you're using at the moment. And what's happening here is that the medic, which is a class that obviously heals people, just used Uber on that Demonite.
The first wave of robots.
So yeah, there's not much to describe on that part. Uber is something that charges up over time as the medic heals any person. And when it gets activated, depending on the Uber charge, that has a different effect.